First up, we have Joel and Margo here from Altair EcoVillage, which is a forming community in Pennsylvania. And I've been tracking them for a while, so I'm really curious to find out from them, yeah, what's the latest in this developing community? Big welcome, Joel and Margo.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Can everybody see the screen? The share screen. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there you go. We can hear you though.
Okay, good.
Looks great.
Okay. Margo and I helped start Altair EcoVillage, believe it or not, in 1999. We're, I guess, the longest running burning souls in the movement. And we changed the name to EcoVillage a few years ago. We will tell you the difference between the two. We've been part of FIC for that full time, and we've watched it grow, and we're so glad that co-housing is now a big part of it. When we first joined, it was not. There are over 300 so-called eco-villages listed in the FIC directory, and they're all different. We're going to give you a bit of our own definition. So I'll hand it off to Margo here.
Okay. So here's our agenda for today. We're just going to review what co-housing is and how that differs from other kinds of intentional communities, and what an eco-village is, etc. Okay, Joel? So here we go. Co-housing. So one of the things we love is that we each have our own private home, as well as the community that we live in. And actually, we're a forming community here in Kimberton, Pennsylvania. So this is our wannabe community, a place where, so co-housing makes it easy to gather with friends because we design pedestrian walkways and nodes where we'll be gathering, sharing a community garden, and just being together. We do have 55 and older community here that we're aiming for, and 20% can be below 55. So these are some of the definitions. And here is a picture of a built community, Cully Grove, Portland, that shows the court design. So we are fully participatory when we're using sociocracy, which is a governance form of consensus. And we love it because Joel and I, though we're founders and some of the older members, we, by doing rounds, we are able to broaden the base and include a wider group of members who are working together to manage our community. And so thereby we're teaching each other, we're working on how we're going to age in community and what our live work opportunities can be. So we're also looking for a work share program that from the get-go, we're going to be fully asking each other to participate and share in the work of the community. Okay. Also the outside community, the larger surrounding neighborhoods.
Eco-villages vary with every single eco-village. If you ask what is an eco-village, you're going to get 300 different answers if you go through the FIC directory. I'm going to briefly go through the way that the GEN describes it. This is the Global Eco-Village Network, which is a highly recognized international group. And I'll show you briefly the 4 major themes of an eco-village, which we espouse. The first is, we're not going to blindfold you and make you pin the tail on the peach here, but We will relate and encourage all differences. We actually hired Alan Ahashi, volunteer, by the way, to talk about cultural differences. And it really is important. Here we have some meaningful work. One of our interns laying a path in our woods. We are also working with health practices in the community. We're involved with Camp Hill villages, Waldorf schools, and so on in the neighborhood. So we're very much in the realm of educating and providing different forms of health care that are more aligned with nature rather than the big medical practices. Moving along to the second major aspect is ecological, and I will tell you that this makes Altair distinct from most co-housing communities, and I'll show you why a little later. We do have community-supported agriculture within 2 miles, 3 of them, so there's no reason for us to grow our own food. However, just about everybody to a member wants to grow some of their vegetables, flowers, and so on. So we're going to have an active greenhouse and so on. Here are some of the ecological aspects. And again, there's a rigid program that we're going to be following. We're not just going to be paying lip service to this. I'll show that to you later. Here's my grandson, who's now 8 today, and Wanda, our 80-year-old yoga teacher. She's going to be teaching yoga in the Common House. Here we are sharing our activities together. So we are honoring the cultural and spiritual aspect. This is the third major linchpin that makes EcoVillage. And so we honor people's visions and their celebrations. We have people going to Seders and Good Friday services tomorrow. We also have a whole variety of religious activities. We do not discriminate. We bring them all together. The fourth aspect is the economic. And quite frankly, the economic is what separates co-housing from the rest of most intentional communities, because we are not involved in businesses that the entire community is in. We are not involved with a common currency and so on. People are responsible for their own well-being, but we are sharing resources within the community. So those are the 4 aspects of the EcoVillage. And now I'll turn it back over to Margo to tell you where we are.
Yeah, we are located in a beautiful rural, semi-rural area outside of Philadelphia. You see the Schuylkill River on the upper right, and over by our dot, our red dot here is where our site is, near the French Creek and with many trails. So within a 5-mile radius, 5-minute walk, we have stops in our little village of Kimberton and some trails that lead over to other trails that eventually take you further out. So there's a bicycle trail all the way to Philadelphia, which is our cultural center. And we're just blessed with opera and orchestra and restaurants, and we who are 65 ride the train for free and etc. But it's a train ride into Philadelphia. Not only do we have here pictured below is Longwood Gardens, beautiful garden area, but many gardens in our locale. So it's just a wonderful county that we live in. And here is Kimberton. We have a historic center of town. We're looking at our post office, and there are nearby. So these villages centered around an old 1875 or 1817, forget. Anyway, here's our Kimberton Whole Foods, which is an independent Whole Foods store, largest in our area, and just a wonderful gathering place for everybody. Very walkable. It's just 2 blocks away from our site. A Kimberton Inn, where we have wonderful restaurant meals. A park for the children, who, our grandchildren too, who are part of our community. It's just across the street.
So this is a model we made of what the site might look like. This was a collaborative effort. We did 2 complete day-long retreat sessions to arrive at this. It is a very narrow site, but we managed. We have 29 homes. On what you see in front of you is about half of the site. The rest of it is woods and wetlands. It's oriented along the pedestrian walkway. The common house is in the middle. And you can see the carports, which provide our solar electricity. We've been in touch with many permaculturists. Here's 100 Fruit Farm in Bucks County. This fellow is introducing us to edible bushes and nuts. We intend to supplement our mandatory landscape architecture plan that's part of our submission to the township with our own ideas about growing and raising things. Here's one of our most prominent features. I will tell you there are several communities now that are embracing this panelized construction. This particular one is out of Baltimore, called Blueprint Robotics, but the first one was in Belfast, and that's in Maine. There are several in Canada also doing a passive house. The building is designed in such a way that even if you had no heat or cooling, it would be at 55 degrees year round. That's how well insulated it is. This is a factory built, which means that we save a tremendous amount of time in construction. And it's about the healthiest environment you can imagine. The air is filtered, we try to use standardized designs, which I'll show you. Here's a rendering I did of what the community might look like. I did this on an airplane at 30,000 feet, and for some reason people thought it was good enough to show again, so here it is. Clustered around the common house with the carports and so on. Here's some of the features we're going to be focusing on related to site management. We have to be on public water and public sewer because of the township ordinances. However, we have very strict stormwater management tools, so we will have rain gardens and various features like cisterns will be collecting water and managing it. Here is a diagram of how the energy is going to work, and we're going after a Department of Energy grant. Thanks to the federal legislation, we could have this entire package paid for. So we start with the arrays and it goes through the homes. We are privileged to be the first project of this kind in Pennsylvania to have a single electric meter, which is it took a lot of negotiation with our utility company. And we plan on having robust solar carports so that most of our transportation is also off of the solar. This is the U.S. Green Building Council Sustainable Sites. This project has been around for quite a while. It came out of the LEED guidelines, which has been in existence for many years. But this scorecard shows you that we will be complying with a recognized measuring technique so that the township will be able to approve more homes in our project, and we will be a model for the rest of the community. We have to manage the site for 10 years and monitor it. This is not a normal process for most co-housing projects. Here's what the carports might look like. We're developing a ride-sharing program, and we've been in touch with the National Co-Housing Group as to how to manage this. Let's see, am I done with this? Yes, Margo.
Okay, so as I said, we're a 55 and older community, but we welcome the 20% younger families to join us. We are working to teach each other the aspects that Joel went over. And one of the things we've adopted, an idea from the National Co-Housing organization, was having social teams where we would divide up into different folks who come up with ideas for how to have fun together, how to get to know each other better through our downtime, not in meetings. And we buddy our newest members so that they feel that they can understand and work alongside somebody to bring them in. This is an organizational chart for our sociocratic governance, and our coordinating circle sits at the center with 3 core circles. The community life is a very active one with the membership, hospitality, common house, and the one that's the aging in place focus is the care and council. And same for governance, and then land and buildings on the physical side of things.
So here's a better diagram of our site. You can see the wetlands crosshatched in the upper right-hand corner that goes into the woods. The path you see going all around will disappear because we're going to use grass pavers, but that is to comply with the fire company who approved the boulevard. Most developments require 2 means of exiting, and we are allowed to just have the one. That way we don't bother the neighbors to the northeast there. So we're still working on the site plan, but this is basically what we have. This is a master plan. There are some co-housing communities and many intentional communities where you get a lot and you can build your own home. We're going to have it so that it conforms with the village. And here is a model just showing a cutaway of how a cluster might be organized. Here are the floor plans. They're downsized. They range in size from 900 to 1,300 or 1,400 square feet. 2-story townhouses and single level duplexes, which are most economical. You can purchase a single floor. We do have some families that are purchasing upstairs and downstairs. The parents live downstairs, the kids live upstairs. In Denmark, it's the other way around. You want the kids downstairs to run outside, and you want the elders to get exercise. But anyway, that's so far what people have chosen. The common house is a single building that has all of the features in it that we want. This is a cutaway of a model that we had fun building, showing the great room with our dining, a large kitchen, and then rooms off to the side. there's a grade change of about 5 feet, so you can see where you walk in to the right, down, there's a lower level down to the lower left. We are not leveling the entire site. We're using the contours that we have. And this is a floor plan that shows you approximately what we'd like, if we can afford it. So, Margo, why don't you wrap it up?
Yes, we are looking for members, both investor members who are equity members willing to let their money be spent like a typical co-housing community. And also we have a track where we are escrowing members' down payments. So please look at our website and join us.
Yeah, and I put my email up in the chat box. I think it's the first message that's up now. So thank you. Let us know how we did with this. This is the first time we've run through this slideshow, and we'd like to do it again, but we need your feedback. I will stop sharing my screen. So
Thank
how
you.
did we do for time? Was that too much?
It's all right. Yeah, it was just fine. Thank you so much, Joel and Margo. I really appreciate that presentation and seeing the design of the community that will be. And it's exciting that you're getting closer and closer to being able to build. So I welcome questions from our audience. So please put your questions in the Q&A box. And we have some coming in. Firstly, your website. I don't think you included your website in the presentation. So what is that?
I will do that. I'll put that in right now.
Great, good. So website is coming into the Q&A box. And how far out are you thinking in terms of when you'll be able to build?
Well, this is the $64 question, isn't it? This has to do with an 8-month approval process with the town. And that involves everything from stormwater management to traffic studies to fiscal impacts. Some of you may be in rural sites where this kind of thing is not required, but we are under the eagle eye of I don't know how many consultants. We've got 15 consultants, and it's about $1 million in consulting fees just to get through the process of approvals. We have wonderful architecture teams, mechanical consultants, passive house designers, and so on. Right now, the costs are going through the roof, as you can imagine. We've tried to keep things under control, and we just got in some new prices from our construction manager, and we're looking at the sort of $450,000–$550,000 range. But we think in a year or two that's going to drop back, and we have not done our due diligence and reworked what we might cut back or where we could save some money. So that's just to give you an approximate answer. The 55 and older was.
Yeah, and Joel, let me field the questions just because not everyone can see them. So I want to know your response.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's fine. So yeah, there's a question here. What made you decide to be primarily 55? And I'm curious, you know, most 55 communities are just 55, but you have some opportunities for young families. So I'm curious if you could share that. Yeah.
Well, HUD allows for 2 or 3 options. And the one that we're selecting is the one where 20% younger families are allowed as heads of household. We've always wanted to be multi-generational. We are allowed an additional 15% of homes. We're trying to be economical. Without the 55 and older and without the sustainable sites options, we could only build around 20 homes. We'd like to keep the costs you can imagine how much more it would be if we did not have those. We have 3 or 4 young families who've signed up already. We have to be careful that we don't exceed that, but we have about 14 members. We've had several invest already, upwards of $650,000 so far for the land, and as far as we've gotten. It's a $13 million project.
Wow. Wow. It's incredible. Okay, good. So you've answered some questions about how many members you have currently. I think because when you started, you shared that you began the community endeavor in 1999, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And if you could share with us, what would you say has been some of the reasons for why it has taken so long? That building, yeah.
Well,
I would say the zoning is the primary reason
Yeah.
that we were unable to find a parcel of land that would allow co-housing, and they had to change the ordinance to make it possible. And that's why we're doing sites and other sustainable features.
Yeah, the zoning is a big reason. Another is that we didn't get really serious initially. We didn't do a big land search. We presented to all the townships in the area, and we've looked at as many as 20 different sites over the years. We've had over 500 or 600 people come through our doors. It's been a wonderful experience. It's just been a joy to keep working on it. And, you know, people say, well, you know, you guys are serious. You kept it up for this long. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're not giving up.
Yeah, yeah, good for you. And I can just feel how your efforts are, of course, going to pay off for your community and hopefully future communities that would like to do a similar
Yeah.
project that you're really trailblazing.
I should mention, Cynthia, that we are a nonprofit and we are helping other communities. In fact, I'm consulting with communities now in 4 other states. And, you know, so we're a collaborative project here. We're not fighting with other communities for members, and, you know, we just joined the Mid-Atlantic Co-Housing Association, and you'll see us on the open house day for the national and so on.
Okay.
So we're very happy to share everything. We've shared our bylaws with communities. We've shared our ordinances. We've, you know, talked it through. I wish we were built.
Yeah, I bet. Well, thank you for making those resources available in your service. Good for people to pay attention and know that that's available. Great. Well, I'd like to move to our next presenter, but we do have some more questions I see in the chat and the Q&A. So if you want to share, yeah, great. I can see you typing to share the kind of home that you're building. I think people are curious about that model. Good. Thank you so much.